Do you think before you leave being chief executive, we could have the rules changed so that we have a choir playing every time I come to the stage? Because I think it sets the scene a little better for my angelic features. Hi everybody. Who would have thought it? A few weeks ago I was packing up all my stuff in Smith Square, ready to send it back to South Holland. I'm not overly sure my chief executive in South Holland was looking forward to it, but hey ho. Not sure really that anybody saw this coming. I certainly didn't. We were predicting some wins for the Conservative group, but nowhere near the level that's made the change possible. I'm kind of up for the change, even though I didn't see it coming. I'm more than happy to take it on. And probably the reasons why are probably best illustrated with a short story, if you bear with me for a few minutes. Quite a few years ago, not long after I'd first taken over as leader of South Holland, we had a delegation come across from Japan. The leading politician in that group had no English, probably slightly better than mine then, and he had to bring a translator with him. The guy was American, it's quite good as it happened. And through the translator he said, I look quite young to be the leader of a council, which kind of boosted my ego no end, and I thanked him for the compliment. Then the leader of the Japanese delegation said, did your father buy it for you? And major diplomatic incident coming in, and I had to kind of say that's not how it works in this country. But he then said, are you using it as a stepping stone to become an MP? And I said no. And he kind of looked quite surprised at that, and through the translator again, kind of asked why. And I said, it's because I like getting things done. My MP at the time was a backbench MP, and he was a really good backbench MP, but the only thing he could do was write me a letter. That was it. That was the extent of their kind of influence on us. We know as councillors how to get stuff done, and we know the vast majority of the public trust us to do the really heavy lifting. My job is now to help you to do more to help your residents. Something that may get in the way of this, though, is that MPs, like journalists, look out for when things go wrong. They tend to judge us on the rare occasions when we fail, not by the vast majority of occasions when we get it right. As your chairman, I'm going to be the champion for all councils when we get it right. But please make no mistake, I won't be an apologist if we get it wrong. But as I've said, the vast majority of us get it right, and have been getting it right, despite the fact that we've just come through some of the toughest times that anybody in this room can remember. Therefore, based on our record, I'll be making sure that we get the seat at the table that we've earned with central government whenever they're discussing their commitment of growing the economy whilst reducing the size of the deficit. And definitely make no mistake, we will be absolutely committed to doing the right thing for the people we've been privileged to be elected to serve. And to be quite honest, if we are being honest with each other, regardless of whoever won the election, there would be less money in the system. That's why it's more important than ever that we sit down with government to co-design how we get better outcomes for less money. And as part of that today, we're launching our manifesto document, a shared commitment. I have a version here. It's £1 for a signed copy, £2 for an unsigned copy. And obviously you'll get them on the way out. Staff will make sure that everybody's got a copy of it. So the kind of real detail is in there. But basically this is our offer to government to help them meet their commitment to reduce the deficit and help us protect our people, our residents. Now some people might not agree with the government spending targets, and clearly in this audience that's going to be the case, but they were elected on the back of being clear that the local government budget is not protected. So as I said earlier, this means less money. I will work hard to make sure that we get the things we need from government to be able to manage those reductions. And if you'll bear with me, I'll give you a quick flavour of how that will work. We're asking for wider devolution of public services, and we need that sooner rather than later. Devolution will allow us to do more for our people, and we need all parts of the country to have their chance to play their part. By bringing public services together in one local place, we will be able to get a lot more out of the public's money. So better services for residents and at a lower cost. In some examples from here, the skills agenda. For far too long there's been a mismatch centrally set training and the skills that are needed locally. For far too long we've trained too many hairdressers and not enough bricklayers. Probably at this point I should declare a personal but non-prejudicial interest. As you can see, you're going to get there before me, and as you can see, I've never felt the need for a hairdresser for quite some time, and I am a brickie by trade. On housing, the government has expressed a clear ambition to build more affordable homes and to help more people own their own home. You know as well as I do that local government has a central role to play in making this happen. We have already set out in detail our proposals which would help you build 500,000 homes over the lifetime of this Parliament. This is at the heart of our offer to government. Proposals to lift housing borrowing limits to allow us to invest in new housing, giving us the freedom to set discounts for the right to buy and for us to keep 100% of the capital receipts locally when we do sell under the right to buy. You might have seen, this is going to throw everybody because they don't know what I'm saying now, I'm completely going off message. You might have seen in the Financial Times today a piece that alleges that I disagree with the Prime Minister on right to buy. I don't disagree with him on the principle of right to buy. The right to buy is what we should be doing, but what we should be doing it is in a way that works locally. I benefited myself from purchasing a housing association house 30 years ago under the right to buy, and I and my family haven't looked back since, and I don't think that's something we should exclude from other people. It helps social mobility, it helps people climb up. But if we get that offer to government right on the right to buy and all the other housing offer, it won't cost the government any money. We can help them meet their targets. It'll actually save them money. And while we're on the subject of saving money and reforming public services, just look at the health and social care. Bringing the two together will be cheaper and better for people. The Better Care Fund has transferred $1 billion from the NHS to local government. That means our elderly mums and dads and their grandparents can be cared for in their own homes or in their own communities rather than in hospital. We need a lot more of this transfer of care funding, and again you would have seen in the Financial Times I'm trying to set myself on a collision course with the government because I still think the LGA needs to push harder on this, and I think we need to be getting them to free up at least $3 billion and that extra magic sofa money they found for the health service. If they choose to use the Better Care Fund as their vehicle to do that, then our job is to make sure that that vehicle just doesn't work for the National Health Service, that it also works for local government. And you can rest assured that I will, in every conversation I have with government, make these points loud and clear. I think I've set out my stall today. Those of you who know me kind of know, or at least would hope, I wouldn't go on for too long today. So I am going to finish up now with just 3 things. I want you to know that I'm proud to come from a district council and that I am proud to be the first district councillor to become the chairman of the LGA. For me today, the LGA has really come of age. Every type of council has now held the chair. So I'm proud and pleased that that's me. I also want you to know, though, that I will fight for your council, whatever colour rosette your leader wears when he stands for it, or he or she stands for election. And I want you, David Sparks, to know just kind of how much we really appreciate the work that you've done on our behalf and the sacrifice that you've made personally to be able to do that. And this is the bit where the staff really disagree with me because I think I've just done 3 things and now I'm going to do something else. So this is my 4th third thing. I honestly believe with a new Secretary of State in Greg Clark and the new chairman at the LGA, me, we've got a unique opportunity to really rebuild the relationship and deliver on that shared commitment to take the challenges that we face together. So thank you.